Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Legion Rules Reference Guide comes out today, and it has the effective date of May 27th, which was actually yesterday, so it's already in effect right now. We're going to talk about a lot of the bigger points in this guide, and just another quick reminder, only a few days left for the Black Series giveaway. You got until the end of the month. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment, and you can win the Celebration exclusive Maul and Obi-Wan. That being said, let's go ahead and talk about this new rules reference, because there is some things to talk about. Now, you can find this. I will put a link to this in the description below, so you can check it out. But one of the things that's nice about this is they highlight the changes in blue. So that's actually a pretty good thing. So, you know, you can just kind of scroll through and look for newer stuff. Now, I used to prefer when they would do them in red. They used to do that with some of the other stuff. So, like, for example, right here, you can see it says, generally, creatures, emplacements, and walking vehicles with legs provide light cover, while wheeled or treaded vehicles provide heavy cover. Things like that. And that's you know, all going to be in blue. There is some clarifications for cover. A lot of stuff about the new units that are going to be coming out. Some clarifications for some of the new keywords that we're going to see. Agile. We're going to see some more stuff for how you can drop charges. And so one clarification I thought that was pretty significant here is that charge tokens, when you're going to drop, you know, a charge with a saboteur or something like that, they can't actually be placed underneath a unit. So if you had a situation where, like, oh, my saboteur wants to drop a token, but it's just this totally, like, you're totally littered with troops and there's nowhere to actually place it, well, you can place it underneath somebody. So, you know, just having a lot of guys there is not going to stop you from being able to drop a bomb, which is cool. Some clarifications for Arsenal. There's a couple of particularly interesting things in here. So, in this one, they're talking about barricades not providing non-creature troopers cover. So, troopers do get cover from the barricades, and creature troopers do not get cover from the barricades. And there's also a distinction between, like, these barricades and barricades that come in the core set versus barricades that don't come in the core set. So they're like, barricades that come in the core set follow these rules. If it's a homemade barricades, you guys are going to have to, like, follow the rules for homemade terrain and agree on it beforehand. It may very well be the same thing, but you can't just say, like, every barricade that you make at home follows the exact same rules, because then you can make, like, a barricade that's, like, you know, 12 inches tall and be like, I'm sorry, your vehicle doesn't get cover from it, you know, something like that. So they're trying to deny that. They are talking about bounty a little bit, and some interesting, I think some common sense things, like if you poison somebody with a bounty hunter and then they die from the poison later on, that still counts as you killing them. If you drop a charge that blows them up, even though the charge hit them and you didn't, you'll get the bounty for that. Or if you blow up the vehicle that somebody's in and that kills them, you still get the bounty for that. So that one's pretty good. Detonate, you can now detonate after you attack, move, or do an action. And I thought that was already the case, but maybe there was a distinction that I must have missed. Because at least that's the way I had, pretty sure I had been playing it. They're just talking about the timing for command cards. So blue player will resolve first if there is a problem with timing. And it's really, I think, like Han's 3-pip. If that bounces your card back to your hand, your card's effect doesn't go into effect. I think a lot of this stuff is stuff that was, you know, pretty much already known. Like your command card is not public knowledge, but the count of cards is, and your discard is public knowledge. That makes sense. They clarify a compulsory move is a standard move. It counts as a standard move as far as things that trigger off of standard moves. That also means, and this is a big one because I actually did a video talking about, like, doing this tank thing backwards, dropping off Vader, and disembarking. If you got the speeder and you're going to try to have somebody disembark and still, like, you know, get their normal actions and stuff, that you realize that compulsory move counts as one of those standard moves. So if you do your compulsory move and then want to also do another move, you know, you're not going to be able to get your person that you disembark from to be able to do any kind of free attacks or anything like that. So, you know, if you're my advice at this point is, if you're going to be using, like, Luke in a land speeder, just do compulsory and then, like, 2 more moves. Just move like crazy and then just drop Luke in a safe spot. That might be fun. Some clarifications for coordinate. and that one, you know, coordinate is we're going to see that on the Hoth troopers and those mortar guys, and there's actually a lot of talking about basically the rebel veterans and then the Scarif troopers, and that basically that the mortar trooper has to actually, you know, he has to belong to the leader of the unit that wants him on there, and also he has to deploy at like a speed 1 move distance from them. A lot of clarifications on how creature troopers work. Creature troopers can't be displaced, so that's kind of cool. They can pivot and reverse, but they can't embark or disembark, which is kind of important. Even though in theory you could fit a do backup on the back of a tank, for the game purposes you can't do it. A lot more about creature troopers in here. Very cool stuff, and it just answers a lot of questions. So I like that. We're going down. There's a lot to cover, and so I'm going to let you kind of read it yourself. But we are talking about some of the bigger things. Defend keyword, deployment, detachment. This is the detachment, which is for those mortar guys. It's all the rules for how a detachment unit works with army building. You have to have 1 per, so you can't just have like 1 rebel veteran and then like 3 of the core detachment units that go with them. You have to have 1 each, so you have to do them in pairs. So if you're going to buy like 3 of these Rebel Veterans packs, that's going to fill up all 6 of your core, and then you can do 1 and 1, 1 and 1, and 1 and 1. And you have to kind of deploy them as such. You have to deploy the little mortar guy, you know, next to the leader of the one, and then that takes up the spot. You can't put the other mortar guy next to the leader of that one and the third. They each have to go to a different one, and they clarify it all right here. It seems pretty, like the intent seems pretty clear. It's almost deploying as part of that unit. And there's even a corner case where if like there's no legal deployment, you can still kind of get it in there. That you can kind of drop it somewhere else. That's the only way you can drop it somewhere else, if there's like just no room at all for it. Let's see, we're talking about some other things here. There's some really cool stuff for and there's one other thing I need to go back up, because when we're talking about creature troopers, this is all right, and I'm gonna talk about this right here. Creature troopers are affixed to either a medium, large, or huge base. Huge base. Huge base. Creature troopers on a huge base. Are we getting Rancors? Come on, Crate Dragons! I mean, I've been asking for Rancors for a long time, and the day we finally see them is probably getting closer at hand. So maybe it's time to start doing some more Legion prediction videos, huh? I don't know. Huge base! Alright, I'm acting silly now. Alright, so anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Let's zoom. Alright, I gotta fix my zoom now. I screwed up my zoom a little bit. Alright, so we're gonna talk about a little bit more stuff. Because there is some more. We talked about detachments a little bit. Let's see, what else are they clarifying? Difficult terrain, just some clarifications there. I don't think there was anything too big. Oh, this one is interesting. For the disembarking, if that vehicle performed more than 1 standard move or reverse during the current round, disembarking uses that and uses its entire activation, can't perform bonus actions or free actions. What that means is if you're trying to do this reverse tank Vader thing, you're not going to be able to do it. And what the reverse tank Vader thing here is, I'm going to use a phone as an example, and we'll say if this is the front, I start, my tank in reverse, and it does a reverse move, and then does a standard move, and drops Vader all the way up there, which is much farther than a normal speed 1 move. Then Vader can still disembark, attack, do all that stuff. And that was the way around. I did a whole video talking about that, and it was a really cool trick, although I did specify in the video, this is probably going to be changed here pretty soon, because obviously it's a gimmick, and it's not representative of like a normal battlefield, and it doesn't feel like this is the way the rules were intended to work, and they have fixed it. So the funny thing is, I was getting ready to play a game and try that very same strategy against somebody here in the very near future. Now I'm going to have to adjust my plan accordingly, which is fine. I think it's, I think it's just, I was hoping to have some fun with that. All right. And they're talking a little bit more about disembark clarifications. I think that's most of the other stuff. We're talking about fire support and how the fire support, forming attack pool thing, the clarifications for how those are going to work. Graffiti tokens. Now it says the red and blue graffiti tokens right here. I'm not sure if my eyes are deceiving me, but those look orange and purple to me. Those do not look red and blue. I'm going to assume, leap of faith here, that the red one is actually the orange one and the blue one's actually the purple one. However, purple does contain both blue and orange. I think we're going to need another FAQ on the red and blue graffiti tokens because no, I'm being silly. I am being silly there. But yeah, so it talks about the way the graffiti tokens work. They're going to, you know what, you can roll an extra die for rallying, and you can roll -1 die if it's your opponent's graffiti token. So that's going to be pretty interesting. I think that's going to be very interesting, actually, with all the extra suppression and stuff that we are starting to see lately. And we are also seeing some stuff with ions. Ions are cool. Ions are going to drain shields just by having the hits and crits on them. So, like in the attack, before you're even like canceling dice, yeah, they're draining shields. So ions are going to work actually for pretty good for something. In the immediate, this means ions will be effective against Sabine, all right, if she's using that shield generator. But in the grander scheme of things, Droidekas, maybe even the Gungan army, if we get a Gungan army with those big old shields, although they may be a type of organic shield, they may not be a same shield that gets hit by this ion stuff, so we may see a different mechanic there. If it were me, I might lean towards maybe we'll see a slightly different mechanic with Gungans. Who knows? But that's cool. That means ions are actually going to have some use, right? I'm digging that. All right. They're talking about jump. Oh, there's a couple of clarifications with different keywords when it applies to panic. If you are panicking, jump. First off, jump you can use it with any standard move, even if it's dauntless or pulling the strings or something like that. But also, if you're panicking, there's certain things you have to do if it's going to help you get off the board more efficiently, like jump or reposition, which is kind of cool. Yes, a couple other clarifications. I don't think there's anything else that's too game breaking, except for at the end we have a big errata, which I'm going to talk about that too. We got the creature movement summary, and we got kids running around all over the place. So if you hear that, that's what's going on. All right, so I'm going to jump to the end here and talk about the last thing that I think is pretty significant, and that is what did I skip over? Ram. Oh, Ram is very cool because you can turn a blank to a crit with Ram. That's really nice. You're going to be getting some. And it'll work against vehicles too. You just ram the horns right into there. Recharge, regenerate, and just clarifications for all of those, how they are going to work. Well, there's the reposition I was talking about. The shield tokens, and that's how the shield tokens are going to work. Spurs, standard movements, target. All right, I'm just scrolling all the way down. But yeah, I'm going to put a link to this. So I'm looking for one thing. Here it is. Coordinated fire. So you may have seen, and it's funny, in the actual article, I think they linked the original coordinated fire. So you'll need to reference this particular card. And I think this is the way it is probably meant to be. The command card should now read, after a friendly core unit performs a ranged attack, if it spent 1 or more aim tokens, another friendly unit at range 1 to 2 may gain an aim token. So this brings it a little bit more in line with the Rebel version. There was cases where this could have been very, very strong. In my games, it wasn't as broken as people feared. I think when this first came out, some people were thinking you'd get like 30 aim tokens for free or something like that. And while that is mathematically possible, it's not realistically feasible. So, but the thing, what was more likely is that you could end up getting 2 aims and then spending them both regardless, and then like you could end up having a trooper with 3 aims pretty easily, maybe even 4 aims, without too much of everything falling into place. It wasn't that hard to do that, and so that made this very, very strong, especially with all those white dice. You could really get some crazy stuff going on with this one. Now it's still good. I think it's still useful because you're always gonna have core units. And it does still allow you to pass aim tokens around. And the thing is, you don't have to use any other unit. So you can have all your stormtroopers send aims up to your ATST or something like that, right? You have some flexibility on who gets the free aims. So I still like this card. I don't think that this makes this card trash. I just think it makes it a little more balanced. And it's not. I mean, it's a generic card. It's not supposed to be that good. You know, it was never supposed to be like this. Oh my gosh, this is the best card ever. So that's what I have to say about it. But this is in effect immediately. This FAQ went into effect actually yesterday. So the FAQ, the new rules were in play yesterday. So if you won a game by doing that backwards tank move yesterday, you need to call your opponent and be like, hey dude, I'm actually disqualified. There was a new FAQ that went into effect before we even knew it was out. And that's the way it goes. Alright guys, that's all I've got to talk about today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully we'll be getting some more Legion stuff coming out very, very soon. Down to ATST is supposed to be out very soon. And hopefully we get that Legion releases for Sabine and Boss. I want to talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.